Hi, Andrea. Thank you for having this conversation with me. Andrea and my name is Franciska. We are both with Tiara International, and we are talking about acceptance in this conversation. And why is that, Andrea? Why are we talking about acceptance, actually? There's so much to talk about.
So first of all, it's the month of acceptance. So if you follow our leadership model, and we always start a cycle with acceptance, because when we are not in acceptance, it's actually stuck energy. We often call it like we are fighting reality without often realize it, but we get stuck in our energy. And because we also have been like contemplating acceptance a lot these last weeks, you and I together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This last week, especially, and also with the people with whom we work, and also over the past 15 years or so, we have been holding the practice of acceptance right at the focus. And as you say, we often start with on leadership journeys. It's often the first practice that we share with people, like, okay, if you want to free yourself up, this is a practice that you can do. And we do have a great practice, but that's not exactly what we want to talk about now, because you were diving into a deeper level even than our regular practice, and you were introducing the concept of Amor Fati. Would you like to say more about that?
Yes, I actually love that. Amor Fati, you find this expression with Etty Hillesum, and you find it also with Nietzsche. And what does he mean with that? I will read how he describes it, but it translates to loving your fate. So it's a lot even more than only just being in acceptance. It's actually flipping it around and taking it a level deeper to love it. And Nietzsche actually, he had a severe migraine his whole life. So he knew that I cannot fight this. This will never change. So I better find another way. So he also found the expression Amor Fati. And I will read it to you because I love it so much how he describes it. He says, my formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati. That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it.
Wow,
and this is something.
That is absolutely something. And he's starting with the formula for greatness. And what we need at these times is indeed greatness. In leadership, in everybody. So that is quite something. Yeah. Can you elaborate a bit, Andrea? So why?
Yeah. Why? I mean, these times that we are in, I feel the intensity in so many ways. So even if you feel that you are on track in some ways, that you're in the flow, you also feel the intensity of that it can be totally different tomorrow. So being in our center, being the lighthouse, which is another expression that we use, is more than ever, more than necessary there. And so the practice of loving reality as it is and not fighting it becomes even more and more important. And how do you feel that you are not loving reality, that you're fighting reality, when you are kind of energy drained, when you are worried, when you're anxious? All these kind of things point to that you are somehow battling what is and fighting reality. And this is the biggest energy killer that's there when you fight what is, because then you cannot move. You have fixed your energy, but also your creativity, your life force, and it can get worse and worse. So the best thing to do is like sit down, pause, and actually ask yourself, what reality am I fighting here? What would I have loved to see differently, and why is that? So you grab it you grab it, you sit down, you grab it, and you investigate it. And you and I talked about it. It can get more refined and refined and refined. What is it that I cannot accept? What is it that I cannot accept here? Yeah. And then sit down and ask yourself the question, why is it so difficult for me to accept it? And then again, ask the question, why is that so difficult? And again, ask the question, and then you kind of get to a base. And in this basement, there's, by the way, a pretty funny expression that says, like, I didn't know rock bottom had a basement, but you find fear. You find your own pure existential fear. Mm-hmm. And this is a fear that we are not so keen in looking at because it's so uncomfortable, or maybe even we are afraid to jinx it once we admit to these fears, which is deep. However, the opposite is true. Once you have admitted it, looked it in the eyes, it becomes a lot less scary, and that is what acceptance is. It frees up some of the energy, a kind of relief. Like, and when we have looked it in the eye, then the energy can start flowing again.
Yeah, right. Wow. So it's actually fear, and looking at our biggest, deepest fear, that is the access point to our greatness. Where maybe in the day-to-day, where we just handle things as they come, and we try to be proactive as well and respond to situations, but it's still like moving on the surface, where what you're talking about is a very deep inner process that we have to find the stuckness within to be able to create the flow, or to help the flow in our worlds where we work. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And maybe also to wrap up with a little sense of urgency, that we should actually sit and look whatever is in the eye, is like, if we don't do that, we can get stuck. We can get self-righteous in our stuckness. So bitterness comes around the corner. And especially when we have reason for ourselves to feel bitter because there was trauma involved, loss involved, all that we can get identified with the trauma and really, really get stuck for a very, very long time here. And that is such a waste of life. And without diminishing what we all have to endure in the reality of day to day, it's not helpful to get stuck. Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely not helpful to get stuck. It's the journey of leadership. We get stuck and unstuck. We get stuck and unstuck. And the emotion, as you say, is how we feel, is actually like a red lamp on the dashboard. Like, hey, something is happening here. Stop and have a look at it. Yeah,
exactly. And what Amor Fati does actually is it gives you a direction where to look, even in the midst of trauma or something that might be unbearable. It points you towards life instead of sickness.
Well, that's a great final comment to our conversation. So thank you very much, Andrea. And anybody listening and you'd like to join us in this kind of conversation, that just connect, you're so welcome to participate in our dialogues. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.